Hello, myself Sunil Ramesh. Basically, this is the PHP 53rd number part. So one person told that server basically is a one command basically, or basically you can give the PHP has given the name basically. You can give, but one of the person told us, can we give basically our name basically? But when you are giving the exam or basically the person basically is asking the question, that time basically you can't say that your name basically. For example, here basically this name basically is given as a super global variables, or basically we can see give as a command basically. But you can't say that basically, यार मैंने तो अपना नाम दिया, I have given my own name, and I will tell to the person basically who is taking the interview that this is the stuff basically, dollar underscore server basically is known as this. But that person only don't know basically what actually you are telling. So for that basically there are specific name basically given. You can give as a command also. You can tell that basically this is the super global variables basically which is defined by the or a sorry PHP group base. So PHP myself basically. So C basically returns the version of the common gateway interface basically, CGI basically. So PHP basically, so say that basically previously the CGI basically company basically CGI basically is one company basically. They were handling the PHP basically. Whether it is correct or wrong basically that we can't say basically. But PHP basically can be purchased by anyone basically. One of the person told that yeah, Microsoft basically purchase each and every softwares basically. Whenever basically they say that basically I like this software, they basically purchase Hotmail basically. It was of Sabbir Bhatia, but it was purchased by Microsoft basically. Nowadays basically the Hotmail basically is handled by Microsoft basically. So Microsoft basically have the Hotmail basically software. Sorry, the search engine or basically you can say mail engine basically, which is handled by Noida basically. Its head office basically is in Noida basically, and lots of office basically of Hotmail basically are in Bangalore also. So like this basically they say that IP address, server address basically returns the IP address of the hostage, server name basically name the host of the server, what is the server name, such as the if you are running from the local host, then it will give the IP address always the computer name basically. See basically request method. One person told that yeah, request method kya hai basically. One of the person told that then basically you are into the server side basically, that is the website side basically. That time basically the website basically have two text box basically. You submit the text box and it goes to second page. That time basically you want basically that data also basically from the text box basically. So how basically you will get that data basically. So one of the person told that that data basically we can found through request method basically. And in request method basically there are many methods basically available. One the famous are get and post basically. So which method basically are used in that within the form basically when the form gets submitted basically. So that basically gives the result basically. Request time basically, query string basically. Query string basically one of the person told that here basically we want some data to be passed in the runtime, and the data basically which is going to pass to the next page basically that is not fixed also, or basically it's a fix basically. So we want to pass through query string basically. So whenever basically you run the browser or basically any website, that time basically you see something question mark and the variable name and the data. So that question mark and variable and data basically that is query string basically. So what query string basically is that basically we now got the information. So like this HTTP accept is there are many things basically which are not used also basically. But PHP says that basically we have created, so we have to display everything basically. But when we go with the big level of project basically, that time basically mostly commands basically get used basically. Mostly command are basically getting usually. But if you are using mostly command, then basically it will go to the physical place also basically. So that time basically the your page will become very heavy basically. So mostly basically use less level of resources. That is the basically suggestible, because after nowadays basically now basically you got the information that each and every variable also you declares na basically, and that also basically goes to the physical area basically. So it's very dangerous. Lots of people says that then basically why you are using programming basically, but without programming basically there is no idea basically. So one person told that there is AI hai, that is not basically, but AI is also what basically, AI is also what basically, set of commands only, no? Basically, one of the percent we can create a cake framework, symphony framework, but symphony framework basically when you go in detail of the frameworks, that is also these all commands only, no? Basically, they are also going up to that level only basically. So less line of command, that much basically less burden basically. But the burden basically goes to the internet group basically. They basically gets the data basically, they basically gets the burden of the each and every data. That's why basically the 4G came into the picture, 5G came into the picture, 6G came into the picture. I don't know how many G will came into the picture. Why? Because the data basically as you are hitting. So basically one of the percent of the internet group also basically never thought that basically, that why basically they are using 5G, 6G, 4G, because the data basically are going to the physical locations basically. That is the only problem. Otherwise basically normal internet also basically will work in the websites basically. So there is no need of 4G, 5G, 6G also basically. If you do the perfect programming, then basically normal and simple programming basically, where less resources basically are used, that programming basically is good for the stuff basically. So see basically, script file name returns the current executable script, server admin, server port, which is the port, server signature, server translate, script name, script URI, current URI, URL basically. Then basically it's the another is dollar request basically. So another percent of the dollar request only basically says the name, that basically it's the request basically. So some request basically, somebody has given something and we are basically taking that request basically. So name itself basically says lots of thing basically. So another person told that yes, yeah, basically name itself basically say that it's a request basically. So the PHP dollar underscore request basically is the next command basically. So let's see basically what is actually server request basically. PHP super global variable, that basically is name given by the PHP basically, because PHP say that basically it's our property, so we will give the name basically. You are not supposed to give the name basically. So they have given the name super global variable. So when basically exams basically are done of the PHP, that time basically the question asked of the how many super global variables are available in the market basically, that is in the PHP market. So for that basically you should know this global variable name basically, that is super global. So dollar super dollar underscore request basically is known as a super global variable also, and you can give this as a command name also basically, the command name. So request variable contains the submitted data from the submitted form data and all the cookies data basically. That is basically the submitted data, and in other basically words basically dollar underscore request is a array containing data from dollar underscore get and dollar underscore post and dollar underscore cookies basically. So these all are the basically data, dollar get dollar post. That means whenever basically you are using the submit, that time basically what is the form submission type basically, according to that only basically the request works basically. So you need the data basically. So in next video basically we are going to see a little bit more of this.